Welcome to this deep dive, you guys, into the Toltec worldview. We're going to be cracking open some Don Miguel Ruiz excerpts today. And let me tell you, this stuff is mind-bending.
It really is.
We're talking about the idea that we're all domesticated like animals and how we might be trapped in a dream we don't even realize we're creating. Sounds intense, right?
Yeah, it's powerful stuff.
But stick with us because we're going to break it all down and extract some seriously useful insights.
That's the beauty of Ruiz's work. He takes these ancient Toltec ideas
Yeah.
and makes them incredibly relevant to our everyday lives.
Yeah.
We'll unpack the concepts, but more importantly, we'll figure out how you can use this knowledge to make real changes.
Okay, so Ruiz starts with this big idea. We're all dreaming all the time, not just when we're asleep, but even when we're wide awake. He calls it the dream of the planet.
All right, think of it like this. We're born into a world that already has a set of rules, beliefs, and ways of seeing things. We learn language. We adopt cultural norms. We're taught what's right and wrong. All of this shapes our perception of reality. But what if that reality is more like a shared dream that we've been taught to accept as truth?
That's where the domestication comes in, right? Ruiz compares it to how we train animals,
Right.
rewarding certain behaviors and punishing others. Society does the same thing to us, shaping us into the people it needs us to be.
Exactly. We're rewarded for fitting in, for following the rules, for accepting the dream. But what if that dream is limiting us? What if it's filled with beliefs that are actually harmful or untrue?
Okay, I'm starting to see where this is going. So how do we break free from this domestication?
Well, Ruiz gives us some powerful tools. One of the most important is the idea of the four agreements. They're simple but profound principles that can help us rewrite the script of our lives. The first agreement is be impeccable with your word.
Ooh, this one really jumped out at me. I'm a big talker, but Ruiz made me realize how much power our words actually have. He even compares them to magic spells that can create or destroy.
It's about recognizing that every word we speak has an impact, not just on others, but also on ourselves. When we gossip, criticize, or speak negatively, we're actually feeding negativity into the dream. But when we use our words consciously, with kindness and intention, we can create a more positive reality for ourselves and those around us. Think about it. What if every word you spoke was aligned with your highest truth and values? What kind of impact could you have?
That's a powerful thought, but honestly, being impeccable with your word all the time seems pretty challenging. What if we slip up?
We all do. Nobody's perfect. The point isn't to beat ourselves up for making mistakes, but to simply become more aware of the power of our words and to strive for greater intentionality in how we use them.
Okay, that makes sense. Awareness seems to be a big theme here. So what's the second agreement?
It's don't take anything personally.
Ugh, this one hits home. I'm definitely guilty of taking things personally, especially when it comes to criticism or rejection.
We all do it to some extent. But Ruiz argues that when we take things personally, we're actually making assumptions about what other people's words or actions mean about us. But their behavior is often a reflection of their own dream, their own beliefs and experiences, not a reflection of our worth or value.
So it's like we're projecting our own insecurities onto others.
Exactly. Instead of assuming that someone's criticism is a personal attack, we can choose to see it as their perspective, shaped by their own dream. This doesn't mean we have to agree with their perspective, but it can help us detach from the emotional sting of taking it personally.
That's a game changer. I can see how letting go of that need to take everything personally could free up so much energy and emotional space.
It's incredibly liberating. Imagine how much lighter you would feel if you could release the weight of other people's judgments and opinions. It's about reclaiming your power and recognizing that your worth is inherent, not dependent on external validation.
All right, that's two powerful agreements down. What's the third one that can help us break free from this domestication?
The third agreement is don't make assumptions.
I'm so bad at this one. I'm always filling in the blanks and making assumptions, especially in relationships. And you know what? It almost always leads to misunderstandings and conflict.
It's a trap we all fall into. Our minds are constantly trying to make sense of the world. And when we don't have all the information, we tend to fill in the gaps with our own interpretations, which are often based on our past experiences, fears, and insecurities.
So instead of assuming, what should we do?
Ruiz encourages us to ask questions, to seek clarification, to communicate openly and directly. Instead of assuming that our partner knows what we're thinking or feeling, why not simply ask them? Instead of assuming the worst, why not give people the benefit of the doubt and seek to understand their perspective?
That makes so much sense. Communication really is key.
Absolutely. And when we communicate clearly and honestly, we avoid unnecessary drama and create more fulfilling relationships.
Okay, 3 down, 1 to go. What's the fourth agreement that can help us create a new dream for ourselves?
The fourth agreement is always do your best.
This one sounds pretty straightforward, but is there more to it than just working hard?
There is. Ruiz emphasizes that our best will fluctuate from day to day, even moment to moment. It's not about being perfect or achieving some superhuman level of performance. It's about showing up fully with whatever energy and resources we have available in that moment and giving it our all.
So it's more about effort and intention than achieving some external standard of perfection.
Exactly. And it's about recognizing that sometimes our best will be giving 110%, and other times it will be simply showing up and doing what we can, even if it's not perfect.
This is actually really reassuring. It takes the pressure off having to be on all the time. It's about being kind to ourselves and recognizing that some days we'll have more to give than others.
Precisely. And when we release the need to be perfect and simply focus on doing our best, we free ourselves up to enjoy the journey rather than constantly striving for some unattainable destination.
Okay, I'm really starting to see how these 4 agreements can help us rewrite the dream and break free from the limitations of our domestication.
They're powerful tools, but they're just the beginning. Ruiz goes even deeper, exploring the root causes of our self-limiting beliefs and offering strategies for transforming our lives from the inside out.
I'm ready to dive in. This is getting really interesting.
Let's explore the concept of the parasite next. This one might sound a little strange at first, but it's actually a brilliant way to understand the forces that are working against us in the dream.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more. So we're diving deeper now into this parasite that Ruiz talks about. It sounds kind of creepy, to be honest. What exactly is this parasite, and how does it fit into this whole dream idea?
Well, it's not a literal parasite, of course. Think of it as a metaphor for the negative thoughts, beliefs, and emotions that feed off of our energy and keep us trapped in the dream of the planet. It's the voice of the judge, the victim, the system of beliefs we've internalized that tell us we're not good enough, that we can't have what we want, that we're somehow flawed or broken.
Okay, that makes more sense. It's like that inner critic we all have. But Ruiz is saying it's more than just random negative thoughts. It's a whole system of beliefs that's been ingrained in us.
Exactly. And this parasite thrives on fear, doubt, and self-judgment. It keeps us playing small, settling for less, and feeling unworthy.
So how do we get rid of this parasite? Do we just ignore it, fight it head on?
Well, Ruiz offers a few different approaches. One is to face our fears one by one, to shine a light on the beliefs that are holding us back and challenge them. Another is to starve the parasite by becoming more aware of our emotions and choosing not to engage with the negative thoughts and feelings it feeds on anything.
Okay, those sound like active approaches. Is there another option?
The most challenging path Ruiz presents is the initiation of the dead. This is a symbolic death of the old self, the ego-driven self. That's been programmed by the dream. It's a process of letting go of old patterns, beliefs, and identities that no longer serve us.
Wow. That sounds intense, like a complete ego overhaul. Is that something everyone needs to do?
Well, Ruiz emphasizes that it's a personal journey. Not everyone is ready for this level of transformation, but for those who are seeking a profound shift in consciousness, it can be incredibly liberating.
So it's about consciously choosing a new way of being, a new dream for ourselves. And Ruiz actually talks about this idea of creating heaven on earth, right? What does he mean by that?
He's not talking about a literal paradise. It's about cultivating a state of inner peace, joy, and love, regardless of external circumstances. It's about aligning our thoughts, words, and actions with our highest truth and values, and experiencing the world through a lens of love and compassion.
Okay. I can see how that would be pretty heavenly. But is it really possible to create that kind of inner paradise in the midst of all the chaos and challenges of everyday life?
Ruiz believes it is. Starts with awareness, with recognizing the parasite and choosing to disengage from its influence. It also involves cultivating self-love and forgiveness, letting go of past hurts and resentment, and embracing our imperfections.
You mentioned forgiveness earlier. That can be a tough one, especially when we've been hurt or wronged by others. Why is forgiveness so important in creating this heaven on earth?
Well, Ruiz argues that when we hold on to anger, resentment, and blame, we're actually keeping ourselves imprisoned by the past. Forgiveness isn't about condoning harmful actions. It's about releasing ourselves from the burden of negativity so we can move forward with our lives.
So forgiveness is ultimately for our own benefit, not necessarily for the person who wronged us.
Exactly. It's a gift we give to ourselves. And it's not always easy, but it's an essential step in healing old wounds and creating a more peaceful internal reality.
He even talks about forgiving God, which seems kind of abstract. What's that all about?
It's about recognizing that we often project our pain, disappointment, and unmet expectations onto a higher power. Forgiving God is a way of taking responsibility for our own lives and choices, and releasing the need to blame an external force for our suffering.
That's pretty deep. So once we've started to address the parasite and cultivate forgiveness, what's next? How do we actually start creating this new dream, this heaven on earth?
Well, Ruiz emphasizes the power of imagination. He encourages us to visualize ourselves living the life we want, feeling the emotions we desire, joy, peace, love, as if it were already our reality.
So it's like we're planting the seeds for this new reality in our minds, and those seeds can grow into something real if we nurture them.
Precisely. It's about consciously choosing our thoughts and beliefs, rather than simply accepting the default settings
Yeah.
of the dream of the planet.
He also mentions the dream of the second attention. What's that all about?
Remember how we talked about the dream of the planet being like the first dream, the one we were taught? The dream of the second attention is about waking up from that dream and consciously choosing what we believe, creating a new dream based on our own values and desires.
So it's about reclaiming our power as creators of our own reality, but he also acknowledges that it's not always easy. He calls us to be warriors in this process. What does he mean by that?
It's a metaphor for the inner strength and discipline it takes to break free from old patterns, from the grip of fear and self-doubt. It's about having the courage to challenge our limiting beliefs and step into our authentic power.
Makes sense. This is deep inner work. It's not just about positive thinking. It's about actively dismantling the old dream and building a new one. It's exciting, but it also feels like a big responsibility.
It is. But Ruiz offers tools and practices to help us on this journey. He talks about the importance of rituals and prayers as ways to connect with our inner wisdom and cultivate a deeper sense of purpose.
I'm curious to learn more about those. But I'm also wondering, where does self-acceptance fit into all of this? It seems like a key part of creating this heaven on earth.
Absolutely. Self-acceptance is the foundation of true happiness and inner peace. It's about embracing all parts of ourselves, the light and the shadow, and recognizing that we are inherently worthy of love and belonging, regardless of our flaws or imperfections.
That's a powerful message. It feels like it ties back to the idea of don't take anything personally. If we truly accept ourselves, then other people's judgments and opinions have less power over us.
You're exactly right. When we learn to love and accept ourselves unconditionally, we become less dependent on external validation and more free to live authentically.
This is all starting to come together now. It's like we're peeling back the layers of the dream of the planet and discovering a whole new way of seeing ourselves in the world.
It's a process of awakening, of reclaiming our power, and of consciously choosing to create a reality that's aligned with our highest truth and values.
So how do we bring this all together and apply it to our everyday lives? It's a lot to take in. It feels like we've covered so much ground already. But I'm still curious about those tools and practices you mentioned, like rituals and prayers. Can you give us some concrete examples of how to integrate these Toltec ideas into daily life?
Absolutely. One of the simplest yet most profound practices Ruiz recommends is to start each day with a conscious intention. Before you even get out of bed, take a moment to connect with your breath and set an intention for how you want to show up in the world that day. Maybe it's an intention to practice patience, to speak kindly, or to approach challenges with courage. This simple act can help shift your mindset and set the tone for the entire day.
That sounds manageable. I can see how starting the day with a clear intention could help us stay more aligned with those 4 agreements we talked about earlier. Are there other practices we can try?
Well, Ruiz also emphasizes the power of gratitude, taking time each day to appreciate the good things in your life. Even the small things can shift your focus away from negativity and cultivate a sense of abundance and joy.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed that when I focus on what I'm grateful for, it shifts my whole perspective. It's like a natural antidote to that parasite of negativity.
Exactly. And another powerful practice is to become more mindful of your self-talk. Notice the stories you're telling yourself throughout the day. Are they empowering or disempowering? Are they based on truth or on limiting beliefs?
That's a great point. I think we often underestimate the impact of our own thoughts. It's like we're constantly narrating our own reality.
Right. And if that narration is filled with negativity and self-doubt, it's going to create a very different experience than if it's filled with self-love and encouragement.
So it's about becoming aware of those thoughts
Mm.
and consciously choosing to reframe them, to replace negative self-talk with more supportive and empowering messages.
Precisely. And this is where the idea of prayers comes in. Ruiz doesn't necessarily mean traditional religious prayers, although those can be powerful too. He's talking about affirmations, mantras, or any words or phrases that help you connect with your inner wisdom, cultivate positive emotions, and reinforce the beliefs that are aligned with your new dream.
Okay, so it's like we're reprogramming our minds, replacing the old code of the dream of the planet with a new set of beliefs that support our growth and well-being. It all ties back to that idea of being the conscious creators of our own reality.
Exactly. And it's not about denying the challenges or difficulties of life. It's about choosing how we respond to them. It's about remembering that we always have a choice to react from fear and negativity, or to respond from a place of love, wisdom, and power.
This has been so insightful. I feel like I have a whole new set of tools to work with now, but I'm also realizing that this is an ongoing process, right? It's not like we just read Ruiz's book
Yeah.
and suddenly we're enlightened beings living in heaven on earth.
You got it. It's a journey, not a destination. And it's a journey that requires commitment, courage, and compassion for ourselves and others. There will be times when we fall back into old patterns, when the parasite rears its ugly head, when we forget our agreements.
So what do we do when that happens? How do we get back on track?
Remember the fourth agreement. Always do your best. It's not about being perfect. It's about getting back up when we fall, learning from our mistakes, and continuing to move forward with intention.
That's really reassuring. It takes the pressure off. It's about progress, not perfection. And it's about recognizing that even our stumbles and setbacks can be valuable learning opportunities.
Absolutely. And remember, you don't have to do this alone. Surround yourself with supportive people. Seek out resources that resonate with you. And keep exploring these ideas. The more you engage with these Toltec teachings, the more they will become integrated into your being.
This has been such a fascinating deep dive. I feel like we've only scratched the surface of Ruiz's work, but I'm already starting to see how these concepts can have a profound impact on how we live our lives.
That's the beauty of it. It's a lifelong exploration, a journey of self-discovery and transformation. And the rewards are immense. Greater peace, joy, love, and freedom.
So as we wrap up, I want to bring it back to you, the listener. What resonated with you the most from this deep dive? What idea are you going to take with you and explore further? What small step can you take today to start creating your own heaven on earth?
Remember, you have the power to choose your dream. You are the artist of your own life.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the Toltec worldview. We hope you walk away feeling empowered, inspired, and ready to create a life that's truly aligned with your highest truth and values.